Today I'm going to show you the art of stained glass and how we make a stained glass window from start to finish. We start with the design, and first of all down here I'm showing you our scale drawing, and then we pick out the glass and show the colored sketch of how it's going to look when it's done. It's almost like doing a puzzle. So once I have the scale drawing, I have to trace this and make another copy, and then we actually will cut out a pattern piece for each one of these pieces, and the artist will cut the glass to fit the shape. And when we come to a point, we need a line coming off of it, because if I cut this background piece in one, eventually the stress of it will crack this. We've actually got this one partially started, and after we have our pattern drawn, then we cut a pattern piece for each piece, and this is out of a mylar so that we can grind with this. And a piece of glass will be cut to match each pattern piece. We use a cutter with an oil, and then you follow the pattern that we put on the glass as closely as possible, because whatever you don't cut close, you're going to have to grind off. We do have different tools that we can use for breaking the glass. This is called the running pliers. And go around the whole piece and cut each shape. One more cut, and then we'll have this one ready for grinding, and I'll show you what we do next. So it's basically to the shape, but you can see it's not quite perfect yet. So then I'm going to take it over to the grinder. This is the grinder, and here I'm going to grind the edges of the glass so they fit perfectly into the window. This is used with water. And once we have all the edges ground, we can go ahead and put this into our window. And so we fit it into the channel, and then we use a lead. This is an example. They come in 6-foot lengths, and you can see it's kind of like a U shape. And then each piece of glass is wrapped with a channel of lead, and it has to fit snugly. And then we have a cane cutter here, and this is going to cut the cane. And then it'll be put into the window. But now I'm going to do this side also. It just kind of wraps around your piece. And this will be put into our window. And then I've got some nails here and a hammer. This will hold it in place while I'm working on the other pieces. After we have all of our pieces cut and the lead applied, we use something called flux. It's a chemical that's going to bond the solder to the lead, and you brush it on the seam. And then when we use the solder, that's really the glue that holds this whole window together. And after I've soldered the whole window, we're going to take a glazing compound and put it underneath every channel, and it actually has a cement in it. That's what's going to make this window stronger, so that when you hold it up, it's going to stay together. Then when you're finished, you can put it up in the window and just enjoy it every day of your life.
Stained glass started in the Middle Ages in terms of it being used in architectural settings. Early on, during what's called the Romanesque period, walls were very thick, windows were small, so the interiors were pretty dark. The inventions of the flying buttress allowed the walls to be opened up so that greater light could come in. They could put these windows in a greater number, and that's when the stained glass window was used as an architectural device as well as decorative and a device for teaching. Because these are really ways for the unlearned especially to understand the gospel, understand their own history, because all this was in the stained glass windows. It's important to remember that all of the Gothic cathedrals were oriented east to west. The west was the main entrance, and the east was the place of the altar. On the south side, you have a lot of imagery related to the New Testament. As the sun moves around, it's kind of a revealer of different episodes, especially on the south and west side. Light constantly shifts and changes, so that in a sense it dissolves the permanency of the architecture. Stained glass in the walls transforms the interior light. This combination of almost gem-like color inside the church was kind of serving a lot of purposes in terms of mood. One of the things that impressed me so much about the symbol of light was how it appears as one of the most important ideas in the Old Testament in first part of Genesis. The first thing that's given to us as part of the Creator's energy of what He makes is light. And so He makes light, and then in the Gospel of John, John refers to Christ as the light. So this idea of light being significant portrayal of Jesus Christ Himself becomes important as a way for us to experience this viscerally. I think it's a great communicator of an idea that's pretty hard to get a hold of. The fact that we know Christ is light, and this is demonstrated for us in stained glass.